high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change, called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
To Atlanta.
And she loves.
Good answer.
Sensation Station Network.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host Cherry G, along with my co-host John Reed and Andre Tate, and our guest in the house is James Thornton with the Covenant House. Today we're going to be talking about homelessness, not just for our youth but adults too, but mainly we're going to focus on what their travel is from being homeless to where they have to enter into society as productive citizens. If you want to be a part of this conversation, I need for you to go ahead and type your comment in the comment section. We'll read it out on air and then we'll discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio, you can call or text your comment into 678-613-5857. So before we get started, James, would you give them a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we're going to go right into it.
Sure. So I'm known as JT to my friends. My name is James, but most of my friends and family members call me JT. I actually am originally from LaGrange, Georgia. Grew up in between Atlanta and LaGrange. I ended up going to school at Morris Brown College, graduated, business degree, and had an opportunity to go play professional football. Wow. So I played professional football for the Chicago Bears, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Cleveland Browns. You know,
I'm from Ohio, so that's why I just tease you.
I love my dog pound. So, so did that for several years, and eventually, once I retired and finished up with football, I got into fitness. And one of my fraternity brothers, I'm a member of Omega Sci-Fi, shout out to all of the brothers out there listening, he kind of introduced me to Covenant House. I started out volunteering, and one thing led to another. Next thing you know, I was spending a lot of time up there, and he was like, man, you like it up here. Just come on and come helping out us pretty regular. And before you know it, man, I looked up, and it's almost been 5 years, and it's just really been a huge blessing. I'm the shelter coordinator of the crisis care program. So I enjoy helping youth and trying to be an advocate and a champion and a mentor to a lot of young people that are very deserving. Our specific demographic is 18 to 21-year-olds, and in some cases it will increase up to maybe 24, 25 through our drop-in centers and different things I'll talk about later. But, you know, all in all, it's been a huge blessing. It's one of the key places of refuge and sanctuary that our homeless youth in Atlanta can come to. So I'm very proud to work there and represent what we do there.
I think that's pretty awesome and amazing. Andre, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You know, I was telling James a little bit about what you do for the transition homes you have there, and I would like for you to explain that a little bit, and because I think it kind of mirrors what you do, but only at a different aspect. And I want to give our viewers and our listeners a little bit about how you help the same thing, and then we're going to ask these questions for the center. So if you can go ahead and do that for me, please.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I believe James said the age group 21, sometimes 24 to 25. My age group was 18 to like 65, and I had two sets of homes. One home with guys getting out of prison, getting out of jail. But I had another home, guys that was HIV positive. So I had two different homes, and how I came about it, I used to be a probation officer, and you hear the saying that you hear guys say that the system is there to help me fail, not to get on my feet, and a lot of them, they use that as an excuse. But I had two guys that came into my office, and one guy said if it wasn't for this guy open up his home for me, he said I was going to go back out in the streets and start selling drugs again, but that's all I know.
Right.
And my next appointment came in his basement, said the same thing, and he said, I'm staying in this place called the Coalition for the Homeless, but I have to fight each and every day for my things that I have because people are trying to steal my items. And I sat in my office and I said, okay, I see two guys are really trying to make a change in their life. And I said, something needs to be done. And the thought came up, Andre wants you to do something about it. And I ended up meeting with a young lady after maybe a year, and she helped me get my 501c3. And so I got that, and I started the program with the guys getting out of jail, guys getting out of prison, at another home for guys with HIV. And that's how I came about starting, it's called Noah's Ark Community Development Program.
See, and the reason why I wanted Andre to share that as well as James, because this part of our show, we talk to our men, our young men out there. And I know just by doing some of the numbers, we do have a high number of African-American males that are homeless. And people don't realize that these numbers are huge. And so when we come back, we're going to talk about the disproportion of it and how they can encourage our youth and our men to move forward. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Over this territory. From now on, it's mine.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp. I can probably hit the green from here. Probably. Can I get a mulligan? Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. We are talking about homelessness in our youth and adults here in Atlanta, Georgia, but just everywhere. But right now we have James Thornton with the Covenant House talking to us. And if you're just joining, Andre was explaining how he got into helping our youth, those that were incarcerated coming out, and the two different homes that he had, Noah's Ark. Now, my question for you, both of you, and Andre, what I'm going to do is ask James this first. So when reading off of your site, it said it had more than 3,300 youth that come to your facility. Break that down for me. What is that like? Is it more men? Is it more women? Is it a mixture? What is it?
Yeah, so we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of different institutions, around Atlanta do studies on homelessness and how many youth we're serving. Now, that number specifically talks about how many youth that's in Atlanta that's
Okay.
homeless, excuse me. And obviously we can't capture every number, so the number is way higher than that. We'll end up serving at our specific location about 1,500 of those youth. And we begin to know these youth very well. We send out street outreach programs or teams to kind of go out there. We have that particular program at our site, but obviously the sheer amount of number of homeless youth or youth experiencing homelessness, as we like to say, around Atlanta is completely staggering.
What's the age group, though? I read some studies that said 14 to 25 is that group that they consider
Sure,
youth.
and that's the thing that me personally, I've always tried to talk about how to problem solve and come up with better solutions and to yield better outcomes. We're talking about anyone being homeless from the age of maybe 8 or 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
And up to, the youth we serve and beyond. So obviously, Covenant House, Georgia, we serve 18 to 21-year-olds in the crisis shelter, but there's so many youth that still need more help, and the ones that are older or have aged out of our particular program, they need shelters around Atlanta and more supportive services, wraparound services that, hit into the mental health and all the other different aspects. But I do want to take a moment to pause and the gentleman who's on the line, was it Rashad?
Andre.
Andre, I'm sorry. Andre, I think it's wonderful what you're doing, the ministry you've been doing down there. We need more services, more men to do those things. So I really applaud you and thank you and very humble for the work that you've done there. I just wanted to acknowledge that. I always like to acknowledge a lot of the individuals. March is Social Workers Month, so I definitely want to acknowledge all the social workers in the city and across the nation or the listeners. The work is very hard.
Oh, yeah.
We need passionate people. We need people who are truly active and concerned about the communities to kind of find these youth and go out there and try to hit these problems and really try to work on being champions for them, as we like to say.
I do. I agree with you on that. And Andre, I know with you and what you were doing with Noah's Ark, and still a lot of the work that you do, because I know you still do outreach through the prison ministry and stuff like that. What James was talking about, do you find that the same in Orlando? I mean, do you run into that type of situation?
Yes, exactly. I didn't notice at first, but where I attend churches in Seminole County, and which is Longwood, Florida. And what we do now, I didn't realize that there were a lot of youth, a lot of teens without homes. And what we do, we partner with the Seminole County School Board, and once a year, they give us, they call it the red bag, where they come to our church and they give us 400 or 500 red bags, and our church community, for the whole month, we go grocery shopping, we put items in those bags, and we turn them back into the Seminole County School Board. And like I said, that the numbers are staggering. I never realized here in Longwood, Florida, Orlando, Florida, that there's a lot of homeless students around. So and once again, I applaud James for what he's doing, because that is so needed. And if they can catch these youth before they get to 25, 26, 30, 40 years old, because a lot of them, they get set in their ways.
Right.
If you can come into their lifestyle and alter that at this particular age, I mean,
right.
You're doing such an awesome, amazing job.
Hey, Andre, I have a question for you. This is Jonathan. Where do you find that these children are actually coming from? Are they runaways? Are they, when they turn 18, they got to get out of the foster system? Are these, ones where they've lost their mom and dad and they don't have any place to go or relatives? Where do you find, or from your experience, that this influx is coming from? And then you can ask the same question too, James.
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you said that. It's a perfect segue because we talked about the staggering numbers and the sheer number of youth that are experiencing homelessness. We have to explore and look at what's causing the homelessness, and it's such a vast array of different things. It could be family abandonment, either the fact that maybe they told their family that they have a alternate lifestyle or sexual orientation. So it may be, that sort of deal. Many of our youth are part of the LGBTQ community. Or it could be that the family gets displaced or separated. They're experiencing some financial difficulties. You get half of the family that's, the mom and the younger siblings in one shelter, and then because the other kids are older than 18, they got to go somewhere else. So they're divided that way. It can be aging out of foster care. Like Andre, it could be that they're working with the legal systems, or maybe they're going through some things with that. Human trafficking is huge in Atlanta. Because of all of the events that come here, so many youth experience that, men and women. So that could be what brings them to homelessness. It could be, that they've experienced, some difficulties at home, and maybe it's for discipline reasons, and the parents couldn't deal with some of their mental health. Mental health is a huge piece of it as well. So there's so many different things that could, bring them from. They could be running from, violence, abuse, physical, mental abuse from a family member or loved ones who kind of taking them in. So there's so many different things that really contribute to the factors of why they become homeless. But when they become homeless, they have to find some sort of support. Otherwise, they will create that narrative however they can. Because it's now they're in this survival sort of mode. And once they get in that sort of mode, they are willing to compromise maybe what integrity that they have, or the lack thereof, being educated on what's a healthy choice and what's not. So
I'll go back to doing the dysfunctional behavior they were doing before,
or what they were taught, or what they was exposed to. Because a lot of times, children mimic what they've grown into or grown up. So that's the only life that they know.
It's the adaptation.
So you have to be real careful at how you do that. And another thing that I found, and I'm glad you brought that up about the LGBT community, because I found out that 7% may acknowledge, but it's a lot more that don't. And that 40% of them, of the youth that are in that lifestyle, they're the ones that are victimized more than children or people who aren't.
And we talked about that alternative lifestyle before. We talked about human sex trafficking and domestic violence, and some of those things that are put upon those people because they live these alternative lifestyles.
So it's pretty dangerous for them out there.
It's definitely dangerous. I mean, there's statistics that we have on our site. I don't want to misread it, but the youth that are part of different groups and definitely experiencing homelessness are so much greater, have a likelihood to become victims of more abuse and getting in trouble with things that they wouldn't be just because they're homeless. We can check out the site.
Yeah, and I did, and it said 30% of the youth have been sexually exploited. 32 of the youth were in foster care system, in the foster care, and then it said 54% have a history with the criminal justice system. And Andre, that's where you fall into place, because you've seen that a lot, especially with the stuff that you were working with. And also on the site, I read that 644 who have received shelter at the Covenant House, 308 are women, 337 are men.
Half and half.
513 identify as African American. So that's deep. I mean, there's a problem out there, and I'm all about, let's not just talk about it. What can we do to make a change and make a difference? So we got some things that are coming up that we're going to be trying to challenge you folks out there to get out and help in your community. When you come back, we're going to talk more about these children and how you can help. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Hey, this is John Legend.
Hey, what's happening, man? It's the King speaking.
This is Jeremiah.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You gotta be. Sensation Station Network.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando, with over 1,000 energized and influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the Ultimate Girls Night Turn-Up or the 13th Annual Legacy Awards, with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Henry Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby Dee, to this year's Donna Brazile, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power.
1 in 7 Americans will struggle with addiction during their lifetime. Want to know how you can help? Go to heretolisten.com for tips and tools to help turn addiction around. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
If you're looking for that ratchet, you're in the wrong place. It's the nation's urban internet station, Sensation Station Network.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you're just joining us, we are talking about homelessness with children, and we have James Thornton in the house from the Covenant House. If you guys are listening to us on Facebook and you want to be a part of the conversation, go ahead and type your comments in the comment section. We'll read it out on air, and then we'll discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio, go ahead and call or text your comment in to 678-613-5857. I want to give a big shout out to William Thomas, Aaliyah, Ted Baird, Jay Wesley, and Errol for tuning in, T.C. Caldwell, and I believe Dawn Heron was on there also, Hit Girl. I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We were talking about our men and what the number was for the proportion of men coming in, and the last number I said was 337 men were in the shelter. Now I want to switch and talk about the ladies, because this section we talk about our super women, and a lot of times people don't understand that it's mixed when it comes down to homelessness or whatever. And we said a number that affected the African American community. But I want to make sure that everyone's clear. It's not just African Americans that suffer this. It's all races, because homelessness and all that kind of stuff, it does not have any color placed on it. But there are some things that causes other races to have more out in that disproportionate than it does others. So, Andre, I'm going to ask you this question, because I know, like I said, you have the shelter for the men and so forth, and things that you do now and the shelters and your shelter. What happened with the women? How did that work with the ladies?
Okay, as far as me, I only had men, not women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my main focus was on men because of one of the main things is they're like the underdog. Okay. And I saw how there was, a lot of them have father wounds, and that was the case. And a lot of these men that caused them to go out and act out and do different things, 80 to 90% of the men will do what you call a pre-sentence investigation on them. Mm-hmm. And you always ask them, where's your father? 2 answers, 3 answers. He's dead, I don't know, and I don't care.
Or in prison.
Yeah, I think he said, or in prison. Yeah, and that's
exactly,
that's pretty sad. Now, James, you guys do men and women?
Sure.
What is the population like for your ladies?
So I'm the coordinator of the crisis care, and that is a 50-bed shelter. Okay. So it's pretty evenly split, I would say, by my estimation, in terms of the male and female population. on any given day, now we do have more male beds because there is like I say, a higher percentage of males that we'll see. So on the male side, I have 28 beds. On the female side, I have 22 beds.
Okay.
And it fluctuates a lot as it gets more inclement weather or colder months during the year. We see the census go. It spikes. It's very high. And I will say this as well, even though that's our maximum number of beds, we also do what we call an emergency overnight. So we take an emergency youth that necessarily can't get into the program, but we'll take them in to make sure that they get shelter and that they get food. And, you know, we even offer and extend our services towards our community service center. That's a drop-in center. That's one of the other programs of how we get our youth, either through our outreach or the drop-in center. And
so then, since we're talking about women, do you find that most of the women, their symptoms are domestic violence or displacement, like you said before?
It varies. All of the things that I listed earlier, I've seen the whole rampant, you know, the domestic violence is huge. The trafficking piece is huge.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
A lot of times, you know, they're trusting of individuals who've lied to them and betrayed them. So they have a good bit of trauma in their background. And then just the whole mental health aspect. So, you know,
and mental health, we ignore that. And we should not be ignoring that. And a lot of times it's just that these people, either one, they've had traumatic experiences that has caused breakdowns, or we're not getting them the proper care. And my thing is, leaving them out in the street is not really helping anything.
Yeah, and even that, just to kind of add another layer, you know, just on the whole female aspect, is that, you know, some of our youth that come in, they're expecting mothers or have kids. So that creates more barriers and challenges for them. So part of that is trying to find stable housing where we can kind of reunify them with their family, or even just try to add supportive services around them being healthy moms, you know. So,
you know, I think that's key. You guys, we're talking about how do we help the homeless problem here in Georgia, but not just Georgia, every state that's out there. We're trying to figure out and encourage our listeners to let's pull together, do something that we can put a cap on this problem. Stay tuned because you're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. You know, I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Everybody successful lays a blueprint out. You laid the blueprint out. I stayed true to my dreams, and by doing that, eventually it came true.
A lot of times, you know, it's like in life, right? Life brings like drama, and you got to deal with this person, and then a funky relationship here, and all these things. You try and just kind of balance them out as best I can.
Make a choice, right? You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what real beasts do.
Unleash your beast. Write your history.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-host, Jonathan Reed and Andre Tate. We are talking about homelessness. Not just for our youth, but for adults also. We have James Thornton in the house with the Covenant House. And if you are listening to us and you want to be a part of this conversation, please type your comment in the comment section. We'll read it out on air and then we'll discuss it. If you're listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to be a part of the show, you can text or call your comment to 678-613-5857. And Andre and James, I have a question for you both from Aaliyah. She says, is there a high percentage of kids coming from foster care? Because from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, their care is revoked once they reach 18. Some people don't understand Any one of us can be homeless at any time. Helping with a meal, with kindness, a smile, giving a blanket, shoes, or clothes can mean the world to someone who has nothing. We don't know why they're homeless or what may have happened in their lives to the point in their homeless. I commend you both for the work you are doing. May Allah bless you both for your kindness. And Cherry and Jonathan, may you be rewarded for all that you do. Thank you. Thanks, Aaliyah, for the question. So, Andre, we'll go with you first. Do you see that a lot of the guys that was in the prison system, were they coming from foster care, or if it's just different circumstances?
A lot of it's different circumstances. A lot of them come from, well, not a lot. Some come from, I would say, good homes. The thing is, they get caught up into the peer pressure, and they get into the drugs, the alcohol, and then you have some that have been abused by their family. So you have different scenarios to different each situation.
Mm-hmm.
But the key thing is, which I found out, if you support them, if you show them love, let them know that you're in their corner,
mm-hmm.
Because you have a lot of guys that are in prison and in jail, they go to gangs because of they feel the love there, they feel that somebody care for them, and that's one of the reasons I feel like when I was doing the program, it was the guys really accepted me because I showed them unconditional love,
right.
And I didn't look down on them because, like what the caller said, it could have been me.
Right. And people don't realize that. They don't realize
exactly.
that. You don't know that your life could change all of a sudden. So, James, let me ask you this question. Your program, is it a lot coming from foster care?
Yeah, and I think the listener who commented, it was Aaliyah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Leah. All glory to God on the work that we do. But I definitely would say that it varies in terms of who we get, but there's a large number of our youth that will age out of foster care. You have to really think about this number. There's about 4.2 million young people around the country experiencing homelessness.
Wow.
And a lot of that really is determined by the specific demographic in which you live. In the metro Atlanta area, there's a high concentration of African Americans, of individuals that fall in a specific age group. So obviously, we're going to have more of those youth coming through our systems.
Right.
And as mentioned before about the trafficking and the sex abuse issues that our specific city sees and experiences throughout the year, we're going to get a lot of those youth, but we do get those aging out of foster care. We've had youth come through our program. The day they turned 18 is the day that they were introduced to Covenant House.
Wow.
Because their foster parent put them out.
Literally, the day that they turned 18.
And I'm just like I know it happens, but when you really hear it, and I'm talking to two people who, this is your life, this is what you work with, it really just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine a parent just putting, because you said earlier in there that if the kid just, they have a different alternate lifestyle, the parent just put them out.
Yeah.
I can't even understand that process.
Well, for the foster parent, though, it's money.
Yeah.
It's just based on money. And they depending on that income. And then when it's 18, it falls into their own personal pockets. And so they don't really care about that individual.
And I want to make people understand that, because there are foster parents out there that do care now.
Right, yeah.
I know when I lived in Europe, I had three. I had three foster kids along with mine, and they're doing great. But my thing is your natural kids. Let's talk about this, because you said you have student or kids that come to your program because they choose to be something different. Their parents just put them out.
Yeah.
I don't even understand that.
Well, again, youth are trying to find themselves, and we serve a high LGBTQ community, transgender, what have you. When they come through our doors, it is about absolute respect. It is about unconditional love. It's about accepting them for who they see
Right.
themselves, not who we expect them to be.
Right.
And unfortunately, some families, their development hasn't come to the point to where they can accept or be accepting or very, what I like to call user-friendly to those who may not see the world the way they see them. But we let our youth know that they're the experts in their own lives, and we just want to provide support, be the sort of learning community where they can learn about themselves. So ultimately they can help learn about others. So, you know,
I like that. Expert
community is
about
important.
their life. Expert. I like that.
Let me ask this question too. When I was doing the study for this, I also found out that there are families who are in a two-parent household who are working and they're still homeless.
Yeah.
An example that I read was like Silicon Valley, which has the highest per capita income in America, but $30,000 more than what everybody else is getting.
Sure.
But there are families who are working and can't keep up, and they are homeless.
Yeah.
And their kids are living in cramped facilities.
Yeah.
And do you find, though, that there are families sometimes that are working and still homeless?
We have youth in our program that are in college. I mean, they're trying to do the right thing. We have youth in our program that their mom and siblings are in another shelter because, you know, with the wages, you know, going down and the cost of living going up, everyone can't afford to keep up without the support that you need. And another thing I just wanted to comment on now, we're talking about 18 years old. Now you're thrust in this world having to be an adult and have to do things. I know individuals, I wasn't ready after I graduated college to really be an adult.
Right.
You know, and I had a child at the time. So imagine if you haven't necessarily had the support, or maybe you even have some cognitive, you know, barriers in your own life to now say that you have to figure out things as an adult. They're not ready for that.
They're not ready. Andre, do you have any questions that you would like to ask James about his program?
Yes, I mean, we're talking about, I know we talked about the LGBT community, we talked about abuse. Is there any type of programs that you provide when they come into the program? They experience life at home, life in a foster home, and what's some type of the programs that you guys have that help them overcome that and prepare them to get back into society? Because I know they come in, there's some, like you said, there's some.
Andre, hold that question. Hold that question,
Okay.
and when we come back from a break, we're going to answer it. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. You know, I help people solve difficult problems every day, but one problem has me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. Luckily, the Feeding America network of local food banks collects surplus food, giving hope to hungry children and their families. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Major key alert. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized, influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided power will stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss. From the Macy's shopping party to the Ultimate Girls Night Turn-Up or the 13th Annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Henry Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D to this year's Donna Brazil, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power. And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. This is the part of the show where we have listeners that send in prayer requests. But I want to give to our listeners to please pray for Bill Cosby's family. I think he lost his daughter earlier this week. I don't know what the circumstances were, but it's always sad when a parent has to bury one of their own. And I think this is his second child that he's had to go through that with. Also, Lex Sosa, Casey Lamont Addison Sr., and Angela Reed Bell. We're going to pray for them, that they're going through some things and some challenges, and they're asking people to pray. And everybody out there that's going through something or experiencing things and you feel like you're all alone, we want to let you know here from Destiny Talk Live that you are not. We are here with you. We're praying that God continues to bless you and guide you through whatever situation is that you may be going through. And to our listeners out there who aren't faith-based, that you are experiencing some things, we're praying that you will be able to figure it out, or you'll get the help that you need, and that we are here to listen. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you're just joining us, we are talking to James Thornton here with the Covenant House. He's telling us some of the statistics they have and what they do with their program to help our homeless youth. We also have our co-host Andre Tate on the line. And just before the break, Andre was asking a question, and we're going to bring him back on to ask that question of James again. And I want to give a big shout out to Kim Bright, T.C. Caldwell, and Nicole Ellis for tuning in. I truly appreciate your support. So, Andre, if you could repeat the question again for James, and then we'll go into that.
Okay. Yes, James. Like you have some of the youth, when they come into your program, some of them have been abused, they experience some type of trauma. And I just want to know, what type of programs do you have available for them to help them walk through that particular situation?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question, Andre. So we have supportive services that, address a lot of concerns that they've dealt with in terms of their past. We do different trauma groups. We do individual counseling, a lot of experiential groups in terms of rec therapy. We even have it's like a catwalk. I can't think where your ballet.
Oh, the runway models?
Not the runway model, like the high wire.
High wire, tightrope.
Yeah, I can't think of the name.
Yeah.
Zip line.
That sort of thing. Not zip lining, but
tightrope walking or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah. I can't think of the name.
Well, we're gonna just name that right now.
So one of our directors, he was trained on doing that, and it's just really about overcoming fears and building trust. But we have a team, a clinical team that will come in and do a lot of different groups and exploring healthy options in terms of how they cope, how they can deal with some of the past things that have really plagued them and kind of contribute towards them making poor decisions. But once we explore those things, then we can kind of address some of the other items, and some of those, Andre, include, the job readiness programs and a lot of the vocational help in terms of getting them what they need. At Accenture, that's really been instrumental in what we do, provide a whole curriculum built around trying to help them develop skills. Maybe they need to get a GED, maybe they want to get into school, become enrolled into some local college or somewhere else. We partner with Delta and a lot of different companies throughout Atlanta for their employment needs. We're very proud of those partnerships, and we continue to work on building more, just so we can kind of really give them a lot of support. And obviously, each one of our youth, they have case management. So we help them try to build their case, not based upon what we want, but what they want to get accomplished. And we just make sure that we address all things, and we hold them accountable. If they have an appointment to meet with someone from the clinical team to talk about some things, they need to keep it. And obviously, if they need help in terms of the medication, we provide a lot of help around that as well. Because, like you say, there are some mental health concerns that have to be addressed, and it can be a little costly.
And we as Americans, and I'm saying Americans, have dropped the ball when it comes to homelessness.
Absolutely.
The homeless people are extremely vulnerable when it comes to social services. It's something as simple as getting a driver's license, right? How do you get that particular driver's license?
If you don't have any identification,
if you don't have
nothing.
Identification, what jobs can I have? Is there training programs that I can have? And based on my mental state, are there, psychologists or psychiatrists that can come in and help us cope on a regular basis, such that then we can become self-sufficient? So those are some of the social services aspects that homeless people are vulnerable to because they don't exist sometimes.
And the ropes course, that's the name, the ropes course. So we have all these high ropes, the low ropes.
I got it.
And basically, there's a Belay team, and they teach you how to work together. It helps build our community, but also, like I say, it really kind of symbolic. It shows a lot of symbolism in how we're going to try to get them to combat and overcome some of the things that they've been going through. And it may be even art or some of the things that we do in the gym. We have a full-size gym. We're fortunate enough to have all of those pieces to our program. So it's very, very instrumental, Andre, in terms of how we can try to rehabilitate someone and really kind of show them a lot of love.
I want to ask this of both of you guys because, Andre, just knowing that a lot of stuff that you do and that you still do, especially with the prison system, because he still goes and ministers and does programs out there. My question is that what is it that you guys would like to see more of our community do? What could our listeners or people that are listening that own businesses that are in the position to give or sow a seed, whether it's their time or money, into your program? So, Andre, let me ask you real fast. What would you like to see the community do as far as get involved?
One of the things is mentorship. I would love to have someone give up the time, come in, and just spend time with these guys, do activities with these guys, and definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, financial help would be great because, as for me, when I first started off, I didn't have any type of grants from the city because it kind of kept me in a box of what I can do and what I can't do.
Right.
And so I went out to places such as Walmart, and Walmart was very instrumental in helping me out and keeping my homes going. The fact that these guys come out of jail or prison, I think John mentioned it, they need their license, they need all the type of paperwork done, and they don't know how to do it. And so we're there to help them and get them where they need to go. But those two main things is some type of mentorship and financial support.
Okay, what about for you?
Yeah, for the viewers who are looking, I have a shirt on that says Covenant House Sleep Out. It's really one of our signature events that we have in Covenant House to both raise awareness and to raise funds to support all of the things that we do. And that's what I would like to see more people get involved. So many people want to help, but they just don't necessarily know how. Obviously, like Andre said, we need mentors. We need people to kind of just show love. We have very many opportunities, or a lot of opportunities at Covenant House, to where someone can come do maybe a meal, prepare and share. You know, when you really want to touch with someone, we talk about breaking bread, right? Sitting down, having a meal, and really kind of getting to know each other on that level. So that's a really very important piece of what we do.
And here's a thorn in my side, though. Our community will, at Christmas and Thanksgiving, donate, set up, you know, these food lines, and then we've done our community service or our civic duty. Homelessness doesn't go away. It's not just at Thanksgiving and Christmas time, right? So what happens is that we need to be cognizant of what's going on every month.
Right.
It's cold in January, but everybody's finished with the holidays.
Yeah.
They still need some coats in January, but it's more than that. And, you know, and like Andre was saying, and we talked earlier, financial donations mean a lot.
Yeah.
If I donate $100, it could help 3 guys get a driver's license. And so I know that, you know, your organization, I know a couple of other ones, they need those donations, and they need mentorship.
Yeah.
Mentorship can happen all year long, not just at Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. Right. And that's a great point that you made in terms of, you know, when someone comes out during the holidays and whatnot. And our youth notice this. Sometimes our youth see people come and go, you know, and they say, oh, they're just here, just dropping in. So when you have a presence, when you've really committed yourself to joining this movement of ending homelessness for these individuals who need us the most, then they'll see you. Not just with your dollars or popping up, but they'll see that you have committed yourself to making an impact.
And see, for me, I see a lot of chatter on Facebook where we'll get all these groups and whatever, but what are you doing for the community?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing for your youth? You get these numbers and you're super excited. I got 1,000 people following me, but you got 1,000 people following you for what? What are you doing?
Yes.
So, you know, for me, I've created a challenge where I do, you will see me pop up doing where I'm volunteering and I challenge people. So right now we're looking at what Destiny Talk Live is going to do as far as a team to bring things back. So we're going to be talking more to the Covenant House of how can our group volunteer here. And I'm putting this challenge out there to all my viewers and all my listeners. Put your money where your mouth is. And that means your time and your pocket. If you don't have the money, you have time to make. To get back out here and let's make some changes. We're always upset about how things are going left, but we're not working together to make it go back right or into the middle. So we've got to work together to see how we do that. And I want to give a big shout out to Anthony Rodriguez, Ronald Scarlett, and Mike Gayton for listening. I really do appreciate you guys for tuning in and being a part of what we're doing. But what I want to do, guys, is as we're talking about this, you start thinking about ways you can come and help the Covenant House, Noah's Ark, or any other organization out there that's trying to make a difference in someone's life. Don't go anywhere, guys. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
I'm taking over this territory. From now on, it's mine.
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in Black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized and influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the Ultimate Girls Night Turn-Up or the 13th Annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Henry Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D, to this year's Donna Brazile, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Edith Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power. You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Text us with your shout-outs and requests to 678-613-5857. Radio, not dumb down.
You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what it is you're doing.
Let's talk about destiny. Destiny Talk.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G, along with my co-host, John Reed, and Pastor Andre Tate. We are talking to James Thornton with the Covenant House here in Georgia. If you are listening to us and you want to be a part of the conversation, please type your comment in the comment section. We will read it out loud on air, and then we'll discuss it. If you are listening to us on TuneIn Radio and you want to be a part of it, you can text or call your comments into 678-613-5857. I want to give a big shout out to Jackie Butler Reed for tuning in, as well as Audrey M. Champer. Thank you guys for supporting Destiny Talk Live. We're talking about homeless youth. And I tell you guys, every time I hear this subject or hear about someone being homeless, it really touches me deep, because we don't realize how deep the numbers are. We don't realize just how many kids out there need us. And just like one of our viewers said, anybody could become homeless. You don't know when that can happen to you. So everybody that turns their nose up or saying, oh, you're just faking it, don't do that. I'm not saying you got to do something for everybody all the time. But don't be cold and turn your back or whatever, especially the thing that gets me. Now, I've been cussed out by homeless people, and I'm like, look, let me tell you something. I'm struggling just like you. Don't do it.
And there's a lot of mental problems, too.
Right.
Though, but they don't even know what they're doing.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. We've got to be a little bit more compassionate. Like I was telling James, they're doing a lot of stuff here, and we got to do better, folks. We got to do better. And their biggest thing, Andre, as well as James said, we need mentorship, and we need money. Yeah. You know, even if some people like only got $1. $1 goes a long way when you're homeless.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. I work in programming, and obviously there's some things I try to do, partnering with friends. One of my female friends, she works for a company in corporate America, but she's an avid runner. So she gets her network of friends and say, let's all donate our shoes. At some point, she donated or helped to really assimilate and get everybody excited. We end up getting like 500 pairs of shoes.
That's awesome.
Into Covenant House. It may be small in comparison to some other things, but that's huge. Because it literally, they was coming out of those shoes were leaving the boxes, going into somebody's feet that had just walked into our program. But obviously, you know, we have a development team, and we have those within my organization that their daily flight is about finding funders, getting with the business leaders of Atlanta and around the country to get, you know, enthused about helping and putting these dollars to use. And obviously, you know, you want to make sure that your dollars are being put to use. So I encourage people to find a place like Covenant House and look at it. Go meet the youth. Go meet them face to face and see where the dollars are going. That way you can kind of see what the programs are and how the dollars are affecting people in a positive way. Again, like I mentioned, we have the sleep out coming up, and that's where, you know, young professionals, I think age 23 to maybe up to 39, will sleep out in solidarity with youth who experience this. They won't be in a comfort space. They will be outside in the elements, and, you know, it's about raising awareness and funds. The funds are needed. Individuals, set goals in terms of raising maybe $1,000 per sleeper, and those funds ultimately because we're privately funded.
Okay.
We talked about grants and some other things, but all those dollars are needed, the capital to kind of push and support what we do.
Now, I'm going to read this from a listener, but I'm going to ask you something to remind me about this grant thing, because a lot of people don't understand what that really is.
Sure.
So our listener, William Thomas, says, as a child, I suffered incidents of homelessness due to circumstances beyond my control, and at times acted out. But although I struggled with physical housing, my church became my proverbial home and my church family because of my foundation of love, and I knew that no matter what happened away from church, that on Tuesday, Friday, and the weekends, I had dozens of fathers, mothers, siblings, siblings to enrich my life and fill in the holes that riddled my heart as well as my life. I strive daily to repay the debt by being to others what they were to still to me. And I really appreciate that. And I want to give a big shout out to Vernon Nixon for tuning in. And he's all the way out in Afghanistan. So I really appreciate that. So I want to go back. And Andre, I'm going to ask you this question after James answers it. Grant money. I know everybody's like, I got to get this nonprofit. I got to get this grant. But from my understanding, not all grant money is good.
Well, it's very complicated because obviously there's tons of grants out there, and we're competing to get grants to help fund the mission and push the things that we try to get done. However, you have to be in compliance with the grants. Part of my role as an administrator is making sure that we are in compliance with what that grant says. So, we have to capture these things that really drive the numbers. So that's the biggest piece. Every area has specific demographics, so you have to really go after money that you can show that we're utilizing the way that it was written out, because at the end of the day, if you're not doing it, that money will be taken and underutilized. So you just have to really understand that, know who you are, what you do, who you're serving, and do that well. Don't try to be who you're not just because it's money out there. We have to really be creative and write up a grant that fits your company's or your organization's mission.
I think that's key. You guys, when we come back, Pastor Tate is going to answer that question for the programs that he had in Orlando. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about how we can help our men and women who are homeless.
Hey, this is John Legend.
Hey, what's happening, Master King speaking.
This is Jeremiah.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Gotta be.
Sensation Station Network.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably?
It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober.
Yeah, I'm probably okay. Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Hurtful posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, Beyond Differences and I Keep Safe are looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekind.org. find online.com.
Major key alert. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. This is the part of the show that we say happy birthday to all the people that are sharing their birthday today with us. So we're going to go ahead and say happy birthday to Keith Innos, DJ Ty Brand out in New York. I want to say happy birthday Eric Thurman, Danny Ruiz, Martin De La Rosa, Edith Whipple, Teddy Clements, Linda Morris, Evelyn Paz, Lady Hard Hitter Stoner. That's for our cowboy group, in case y'all didn't know. Ashley Lassiter, Tori Cloud, Ronald Scarlett, Marilyn Richardson, Brian Smith, and Joseph Deal. I know the last four, your birthday is tomorrow, but because you guys tune in and you're part of my family, I wanted to say happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. You guys, if you're out there turn up safely, and have one for me. Happy birthday, everybody.
Yeah. Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You know, you're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel, and a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me. Whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you're just joining us, we are talking about homelessness with our youth as well as adults. We have James Thornton in the house for the Covenant House, and we also have Pastor Andre Tate on the line, who has some shelters in Orlando called Noah's Ark. So, Andre, before the break, we had asked James about the grant money. How is that with you, with the grant money? What are some things you want people to understand when you guys get grant money for that program you have?
Well, I think James said something real great. He said, if you're going to get a grant that fits your purpose. Some of the grants, I think I mentioned earlier about a grant that I was going to get from the city of Orlando. It didn't fit my purpose. It kept me in a box. They more so controlled me. And but I was able to, there are like different stores. You got Walmart, you have Target. They set money aside just for programs like this. It was harder for me to get money for the adult guys because for some reason you have the society, some people, they pretty much throw them aside.
Right.
But they're more so really ready to help like the young people. And so, but Walmart, Target, they really stepped in. They really helped me out. But like I said, the key thing, and James said it, if you're going to get a grant, make sure it fits your purpose. There's nothing wrong with grants. Just that particular grant that I was going to get, it didn't fit my purpose.
Right.
Like I said, it was going to keep me in a box. But those
and
stores, Walmart, Target, they really came through for me, helped me out.
And Andre, I know this is Jonathan. I know what you're talking about, because what happens is you can go on a site like grants.gov and specifically put your criteria in for nonprofit, and they have programs set up. So this this organization may look for veterans. So if you have a program for veterans, then you can possibly apply for that one.
Okay.
Use from a specific age group. But like you said, it gets sort of critical, because then once you look at the fine line, you have to see whether that fits your particular program or not.
Right.
And if you do accept the money or win it, because you're competing against other nonprofits, and you do decide to win it, like you say, your hands could be tied, because now, you're supposed to be doing this on a Thursday, and you're not doing it on a Thursday, then you just lose that grant money, or you're not eligible to apply for it again the following year.
Right, and you want to maintain the integrity of what you're accepting, because that will determine whether or not you continue to get awarded money to do the things that you're trying to do. It would be a shame, really, for you not to be in compliance. Right. And now you kind of put yourself in a position where a lot of people that try to start nonprofits end up, and now they're frustrated because they don't really want to do anything, and it causes more stress than help. I think it is very key to definitely know who you are, know what drives the mission, and stick to that mission.
You know, and we were talking on the break, and I was telling James, I was explaining to him how, for me, when I was going through trying to get myself together, I would write journals. You know, anything that happened during the day, I'd write it down. But I wouldn't read it until the end of the week because I could see my progress from Monday to Friday or Monday through Saturday, whatever day I chose to write on. And Andre, I'm asking this question of you too. Is that a process or something that you talk to the people that come through your facilities? You encourage them to do? I call it journaling, but there's so many different words that you can use for it. Do you use something like that, James, in you guys' program?
Yeah, Andre, you want to respond on that?
Yeah, so understanding you, like, yes, I had several different people come out to my program, which I did mention on the radio here. I was connected with an estate. There was a particular guy who left all this money, and this is the guy that built the Billy Graham Library.
Oh, okay.
And yes, and when I came to them and asked for the money I asked for, they said, well, we don't know if we can do that because no one ever asked for that low amount. So, but these are the things, they helped me out. But yes, I invited them out to my homes to look at it, to look at the program, to exactly what we do each and every day. So, like I said, there was nothing to hide. I encouraged them to come out, and in order to keep that money from the estate, they would come out, and they had a board that would come out and visit and look at what we're doing, look at the progress and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, in terms of different things like journaling and some of the other things, we offer yoga. We encourage them to write and work on some things that are healthy for them. We're very structured in terms of the principles in which we build things upon. One of them is value communication. Communicating that can add value and be used to help you in making positive decisions. So yes, journaling is very important in terms of how to kind of keep them motivated in a healthy way.
Life skills.
Life skills. I think that's great too. So guys, you can see, men, it's okay for you to write. Because some of y'all are like, I ain't writing no journal. You need to do it. It's okay. You guys stay tuned because we're talking some good stuff. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Sensation Station Network. Say about that.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back living with his parents but calls them my roommates just scream Mr. Right?
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the app.
Sensation Station Network.
Never achieved before. Up in the sky, it's a bird. It's a plane.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. I'm your host, Cherry G. We are talking about homelessness with the youth, and we're here talking with James Thornton with the Covenant House, and we have also Pastor Andre Tate on the line talking about Noah's Ark and just some of the things that he's been through. I want to give a big shout out to Veronica Payne, Larry Stevens, William Thomas, and Tony Brooks for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting our cause and what we're talking about. You guys, homelessness is something serious, and we have a lot of children out there that are facing it because of circumstances that are not their own. I mean, and James was telling me how kids were abandoned because of they're not what their parents wanted them to be, and that just still is not settling in with me right now. But I get it, and I don't get it, because I can't understand how a woman could go 9 months with carrying a baby and then just leave them out there for whatever. But it's happening more oftentimes than we want to agree or admit to it. Now, when I was on your page for your group, it said 72% of homeless people have experienced or witnessed violence. Mm-hmm. That was 72%, and I was like, explain that to me. What do you mean witness violence? Were there violence to them, or they've actually seen it?
I would say both, and oftentimes more so than not, they've experienced it. Wow. You may talk about a family member abusing them sexually, or physically. You may talk about
domestic violence.
Domestic violence, relationships, and again, because maybe they don't necessarily have the same views or same orientations or different things like that. Family will ostracize them or even attack them. Bullying is huge in itself, and sometimes they go to school and they're getting negative energy from people, and then they're coming home, they're not eating right. Many of our youth come from marginalized communities. Right. Let's face it, there's a lot of poverty in several communities and not necessarily a lot of support. So they see a lot of the violence in their homes growing up. Even as I'll be very transparent, even as I grew up, I saw violence. No. When you live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of gangs around, right. A lot of times you'll join for protection. Otherwise, you have to fight. So if you grow up in that sort of setting, you have to change your mentality. So when we get our youth, we have to let them know that these are not the streets. Right. Behind these gates is a different sort of thing, and one of our major principles is sanctuary. So the sanctuary is where you feel safe, a place to where you can kind of say, all right, I am not judged here. This is a judge-free zone. So if we see anything that will violate a healthy sort of boundary, we correct them on that. We say, here, this is how we handle ourselves. We speak with a lot of respect to one another.
You mentioned earlier that you retired from the NFL, and then you went into the service, if you will. Was it shocking to you with all the stories you heard and the influences that are affecting these young kids and the environments they brought in? I know just for me personally, it would be shocking. I mean, I know it's out there, but if we're not exposed to it, we don't know.
Yeah, and that's part of the awareness aspect of when I first came to Covenant House, I expected a shelter to be this gloomy place and all these different things, the Hollywood version of shelter and homelessness. But then I seen these young people that look much like my daughter, who's 14 now, who look like much of the individuals who I ride on buses with, and then I realized, wow, so how did they get displaced from home, or what brought them to homelessness? But not only that, just the things that they go through, and then I started hearing the stories. I played in stadiums in front of thousands of people and was kind of put up on this pedestal, but then I came into this sort of genre and line of work, and it was eye-opening. Right. And even my own assumptions, what I'm not very proud of, have changed over the years. So now when I hear people speak to individuals in an undignified way, I was in the gym, it hits me in the most emotional way. I was in a gym, and that's back when the Dome was being built, the new stadium. And someone said a comment was like, there's these homeless people. I wish they would hurry up with building the. And I kind of looked over at him. It hit me. But the thing is, I can't be super mad at him because he's ignorant. Right. He needs to be made aware of the flight that they have to go through. The things that I mean, our youth literally will come off the streets in abandoned buildings. Maybe they just got beat up, or maybe something was stolen from them, or they was transported here from another state to make money. Right. We had one particular youth, a young lady that was in our program who passed away. She was murdered. because she was doing some things, and we try to rewire their thinking when they come into our program. So it's very serious, and you just have to kind of submerge yourself and connect and find out, who we are and what you can do, because it's eye-opening. I still am blown away every day I show up, because every day it's its own day.
It's something different, yeah. And Andre and I, we come from the same neighborhood, and I want to give a shout out to Vicki Wilson. I could honestly say, and Andre, you tell me if you felt this way too, we were kind of like a family. Our neighborhood, we were close knit. You know what I mean? Our families knew. Parents would take care of each other kids. I mean, we had rent parties,
It takes a village mentality.
Yeah, but we had that kind of closeness. And now that we're older, we do have a Facebook page dedicated to our neighborhood, and we still keep in touch with those. One of our guys, we call him the TP mayor, Tangelo Park Mayor, Carl Latimer. He, would go out and let us know what's going on with our community. Andre, do you find that is like I do? For me, it's comforting to see what our people we grew up with, and then how we can help give back. Do you find that also to be a good thing?
Yes, it's very comforting, but it's also very rare. Like I said, you don't find that today. It's like everybody's so isolated. But like you were saying, Sherry, about Carl Lattimore, they do this thing every year to give back to Tangelo or something like that, where they have the whole community come out, everybody pitch in their time, pitch in their money, their finances. They just have a cookout for 5 or 6 hours to the community come together and have just a good time. And you don't see that today.
You don't. Yes, but our crew from home and everybody, we call it TP for life. That's Tangelo Park for life. We all keep in together, and some of us have moved away. Some of us have lost touch. But because they created this Facebook group, we were all able to come back and see where our classmates, our friends, our family, what they're doing, and then try to give back. And I'm just saying, if we could do that with a Facebook group, to where Carl and a lot of the people who have worked with that group to give back to our community, why can't we do that with stuff like you guys are doing?
People are isolated nowadays.
But we can bring it back. I mean, it's obvious that we're doing it. We can bring it back, right?
Yeah. I'm always hopeful when generous people come up and even shows like this. So I appreciate you shedding light on this topic, bringing me on so we can talk about it. Obviously, the conversation gets it started. But the next step is about let's put it to action.
Right.
Words are great, but let's put it to action. Hold people accountable. Look into your own personal network of friends and family members and say, this is what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and set the date. Let's get our resources together and decide on, what it is we're going to do. And let's actually commit to it. Let's make this a thing, and you'll be surprised how many people will get on board with that.
Right.
Again, we live in this technology world, and obviously there's so many things that can be of harm with social media, but I'm a person that I love how it connects people. I'm all about unity and people coming together for the greater good. So let's use this to kind of help us.
Yeah, because I always tell you, people, Facebook isn't your friend, but it also can be a powerful weapon if you use it right. And things like this is a great way to be positive and put stuff out there, because we pass around nonsense quick, but we don't pass and share positive things, and we got to change that culture. You're listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face. And posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't
online, you can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them. I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside. Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over. As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com. Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you're just joining us, we are talking about homeless youth. What the problem is that we're having here in our state, not just here, but everywhere. We have James Thornton in the house that is a part of the Covenant House, as well as Pastor Andre Tate on the line. We've been talking so much about how we can get people involved, how we need the mentorship, we need the dollars. We've talked about the problem, but what we really haven't talked about is how can our families come together and make a difference and a change. Now, I want to ask this, and I'll ask you first, Andre. Have you ever had a program or created a program where you had families that volunteered together to come in and, help other students or guys that were in your program? Have you ever had something like that?
Yes, well, we encourage the families of the guys that stay in the home. Mm-hmm. We encourage them to rally around them and really come out and support them. So, they would come out, they would, cook a meal so they could, have dinner together. We encouraged the kids to come out, and it was very, very successful. But that was one of the greatest things that I feel like we've ever done, was have the family really get involved into the inmates' life.
I think that's dope. I mean, I think that's great. Obviously a lot of your kids don't have that. So do you create that type of environment, or what do you guys do to help them get a sense of family?
Well, every single morning when we wake up our youth, they're expected to clean up their rooms. We're assisting right with them because our shelter is 24 hours. It's the overnight crew that kind of helps wake them up and get them going with their day. But they'll go down from the shelter to our gymnasium where we have morning community. That's where we as a family, and we all consider ourselves family, talk about well, first we like to highlight positive things, positive reinforcement. Does anybody got any great news? Did someone get a job, job leads, or anything positive? They might have went to a play. We just several of our youth just seen the playwright Rent the other day, so
that's awesome.
they may talk about that. But we also talk about issues. If there's a concern. Obviously, it's a very diverse group of individuals in our program, so there's going to be some things that come up that we need to talk about. But we can talk about it in a manner that's healthy amongst each other. We let everyone step out, whether they agree with what was said or not. We just mutually say, all right, well, we can work on that. We can learn to appreciate each other. Other things that we do a lot of group activities. We have outings. We recently saw a movie. We went out to the movie over MLK holiday and different things like that. We do youth recognitions all the time, and that youth, it could be a youth coming into our program that day. We find out their name, and we may give them the Right on Time award, or if we want them to know that we see them, that we recognize them.
And my perception, and I may be wrong, is that since we're talking about family, homeless people don't have that family support.
No, they don't.
Right.
And I'm just an assumption that I'm making. I don't have no statistics to say that, but to me, I assume that they don't have positive family environment, or their family have disowned them some kind of way, and they don't know how to interact as a family.
Right.
So
Exactly.
all of their perception is always negative.
Yes.
Right?
So, and it begins to be, you can see it, obviously we always talk about having healthy boundaries, and I always want, our staff to maintain a great level of professionalism. But you'll hear youth, call some of my colleagues and the staff I supervise Mama D, or, that there's Pops, because they have that feeling of, this is family. Or when they come back from a long day of job searching or handling their business, they smell the food in the kitchen. It's dinner time. We've all experienced that. So it's very important that we build our community, that we let them know that their voices are powerful. We help, I tell them all the time, I need to hear ideas about this. We want to do a what do you call the shows you put on, like a talent show. Talent show. Sorry, I'm going blank. But I want it to come from them. I want them to contribute towards it, and we even have groups that will come in. We do Bible studies on Wednesdays, and sometimes these ladies during Christmas time will help them or allow the youth to come in and prepare gifts that they're going to give to other people.
Right.
So it helps.
We always talk about the importance of family, and so we always try to give tips on what things we can do. One thing for our listeners is strengthen your family bonds.
Right.
And right. We always talk about that on a regular basis.
Round
Communicate.
table.
Yep.
And so you sometimes by being in a close familiar family relationship, you may prevent somebody from being homeless.
Absolutely.
Or be able to take somebody in from another family member that that building that strong family bond.
And we talked about making assumptions, right? Well, because we have different youth that come from all sort of walks of life, we try to help them understand that as well. What you're dealing with right now, someone else may be dealing with something totally different.
Right.
So let's not assume that this person isn't somebody that you would end up liking or get along with. There's a young man that came through our program that wore layers of clothes, and he would run around the gym talking to himself.
Right.
But everyone, on face value, they're like, he's crazy. No, he's not crazy. In fact, he's used to having to get up and put up his stuff and stay on the run for the next location of where he's going to spend the night. Right. So he layers, and these are all of the belongings he have. So that's a survival technique that he's using. But if your eyes aren't open to that, or if you have a different set of lenses, you may miss that.
I like that, a different set of lenses.
Yeah. So do you guys have those people that can talk to people who may have mental challenges, like specific doctors or?
Yeah.
And they volunteer their time.
Well, we work with CAP, and they're nurses and practitioners that come and do health screening to do that. But we have a clinical team that is on site. Their staff, thank God for them, because when a youth is maybe having a meltdown or some challenges, we need someone who can talk to them right away. And that's part of what the funding goes towards. My hopes is somewhere in the future that we can even get someone in the evening to be able to help to kind of facilitate a lot of that leadership and direction with that. But we our therapists and the whole clinical team, they do a great job of talking to these youth, and a lot of times you don't necessarily need to tell them what's wrong with their life. That's not what they need. Sometimes they just need someone to listen.
Yes. So Andre, when you have your program, did you have people on staff that could help with your students or your participants in your program if they had breakdowns, or you felt one coming on, or they just had challenges? Did you have that type of support as well?
Yes, I worked with a particular guy that he would come out and help as far as he's a certified counselor, that he would spend time with him. So that was a great aspect, because I think he had me up, he's a fraternity brother. And so he would come out and on his own free time and volunteer. I don't know how much a counselor makes, but he would come out and give up his time to give these guys what they need. I could have referred to somewhere else, but I wanted to refer to somebody that I really knew that really cared about them. So, yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And so I have to throw this little plug out here because Jonathan mentioned it at the beginning of the show. So for some reason, I always end up having either someone in a fraternity or a sorority. So today I'm surrounded by an Omega, an Alpha, and a Kappa. So we're just missing that Sigma. So I need a Sigma to call in. So so I can make it complete. That's so I can have all four, around me. But on a serious note, I really like the fact that you gentlemen have decided to do something in your life as far as service. You're really resonating out to, in my opinion, to a lot of men out there that they need you. These people need you. We need you. We need our guys there to be in these kids' life where the father wasn't there. We need it there for our mothers who are out there who doesn't have, the girls or the young men who are out homeless that don't have the mother figure. So I'm saying this to my viewers and my listeners is that I'm asking you to give some of your time back to these facilities like the Covenant House, Noah's Ark, or different organizations that are trying to better our youth. Because guess what, guys? They're our future. And if we don't fix them, or not, I don't want to even say fix, but if we're not there to guide them or give them some type of direction, what are we going to end up with?
Right.
We're going to have a whole lot of mess. Yeah, we don't need hopelessness. We need somebody to be there. I want to give a big shout out to Tommy Earl Cherry for listening, as well as Sharon Gilbert. You guys don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we got some more information for you.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
You use Tearless baby shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bathwater to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school? Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions? No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school? Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul. No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework. Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review? No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized. I think I understand. Oh, good. Finding best potatoes for French fries. No! Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold. Why don't you understand me? Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Big business. This is the American West.
Sensation Station Network.
See ya.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you're just joining us, we are talking about homelessness with our youth. We have James Thornton in the house from the Covenant House, as well as Pastor Andre Tate, who had a program called Noah's Ark. I want to give a big shout out to Natalie Lowe, Brian Alford, and Don Heron, Hit Girl, Lady Hard Hitter Georgia Hit Girl, for listening in today. I truly appreciate you guys tuning in and being a big support of the show. So as we were talking about the different things that are happening out here, and we weren't really aware of just all the youth that are out there struggling that don't have a home. And John, you mentioned on a break where we're big during Thanksgiving and Christmas and the holidays, but this thing is 24/7.
Right.
It doesn't sleep. It doesn't stop. So we have to be 24/7 on our grind. These guys have these programs. They're talking about how it would help if you get out and mentor or your dollars. You mentioned that a young lady that did shoes. She got her people together to donate shoes and 500 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
That's huge. That is huge.
Right.
That is something that, you know, she may have not had the money to do, but that money, those five, because I'm telling you, shoes, women in shoes.
Well, see, here's the thing. Because we have so many different aspects and programs within our organization, one of them being job readiness. Okay, we can teach them the skills to go get a job. Now they have to look the part, right?
Right.
The appearance is very important. So, you know, the professional clothing, old suits, belts, shoes.
Gently worn, people.
Gently worn. We want them to look sharp. And, you know, we've been fortunate enough to that, you know, people have understood that and will drop off things. We have a whole storage closet and success studio is what we call it, where the youth can go to basically shop and, you know, get the items that they need for their interviews. And we even offer mock interviews. We have people come in to interview them and teach them. I will not shake anyone's hand unless they shake, or I won't let it go unless they look me in my eye and firmly shake my hand. This is men and women. This is every single day. And these are soft skills that can go very, very far. How to speak, articulate that community that we do in the morning is we check in to see how people are feeling. We do a moment of mindfulness. Much of what we do is built around a lot of models, DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. We talk about resiliency. We talk about, you know, being able to communicate effectively. So there's a lot of techniques that we want to teach them in terms of the hard skills and the soft skills we want to develop along the way.
And we take it for granted that every day when we wake up, we have certain routines and certain things that's been ingrained in us, which is simple to us. But some people don't have those sets of skills, soft skills or life learning skills.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people say, oh, soft skills are like for work, for conflict resolution, effective mindfulness, you know, body language skills.
Sure.
No. It's for everyday life. So whatever you're doing in your personal helps you in your professional.
Yeah.
I would say.
You have to, and I use this a word a lot, you have to be a relationship architect.
Right. I like that.
Can you build healthy relationships with people? It's going to help further your development personally and professionally.
It will.
So, you know, those are soft skills, being able to speak to people, being able to, you know, have the social cues, you know, and understanding where you are and how to dissect the situation. And honestly, many of them have them, but they don't necessarily know how to use them.
Right. I want to give a big shout out to Daryl White for tuning in. I really do appreciate you tuning in. Now, Andre, do you have a question or anything you want to add to what James is saying?
Well, I noticed James mentioned several times about a gym. And one of the questions I want to ask him is, you know, the numbers of youth with diabetes is rising. They said as the year continue to pass, it's going to continue to rise up. Is there any type of awareness that you have for your youth that you address their healthy eating and exercise?
Right, and we actually work with we work with the Atlanta Community Food Bank, and there's another organization called Second Helpings that we work with that will provide a lot of the healthier meals that we get. We want to make sure that they're getting, you know, their vegetables, solid proteins and carbohydrates and different things. And we talk to them about, you know, being aware of their body. It's a strength-based approach that has to do with mind, body, and soul. And body's a big part of that. And obviously, you know, because we have that gym, you know, we get excited when we can get them down there and get active. 3 days a week, myself and some other of my colleagues will get up and we'll offer 5 a.m. workouts. We're in there working out, so if they want to come down there, and if they're getting ready for the Army or just in general. So, yeah, we definitely offer a lot of that, Andre.
I think that's really great. Awesome. I really do. Yeah. You guys, we're talking to James Thornton with Covenant House as well as Pastor Andre Tate with Noah's Ark. Stay tuned.
Sensation Station Network.
Break yourself, fool!
The Women of Power Summit, brought to you by Black Enterprise, highlighting the best in black excellence for over 4 decades. This year's summit will be held in Florida, and we're inviting all of our listeners to come and enjoy the magic. March 7th through the 10th, 4 days in sunny Orlando with over 1,000 energized and influential women, intentional in growth and substance over competition. Undivided is how we'll stand with the Women of Power. It's the summit you can't afford to miss, from the Macy's shopping party to the ultimate girls' night turn-up or the 13th annual Legacy Awards with previous recipients like Alfred Woodard, Greer, Vanessa Williams, Felicia Rashad, Ruby D, to this year's Donna Brazil, Jen Kennedy Overton, Carmen D. Lavalade, and Ian Cooper. It's power on your own terms. Jerry G from Sensation Station's Destiny Talk will be your guide for your ultimate summit experience. Stop right now. Go to ssnatl.com to start your powerful journey. Click the links for more info or go to blackenterprise.com/WPS.
Women are power.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He'd guide us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
No word in the English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably? It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network.
How that we'd have your attention.
Not dumbed down. Was real?
Yeah, it was.
Radio, not dumbed down.
Welcome back to Destiny Talk Live. If you are listening to us today, we have had some great information from James Thornton with the Covenant House, as well as Pastor Andre Tate with the Noah's Ark. We've been talking about our homeless youth, the situations that we have here, and things that we would like to see our community and what we're challenging our community and people out there to do. When I say our community, I'm talking about the United States as well as internationally, because that's how our audience, where our audience reaches out to. So before we get off of this air, I want to go to you, Andre, and ask if you would give just a few tips or suggestions that you would like to leave to our viewers and our listeners.
Yeah, I'm reminded of the movie Blind Side, and I just want to say it was a true story. Before you pass judgment on someone, make sure you know their story, what's behind closed doors. And that's what I would just like to add. We pass judgment so quickly, but until we find out their story, we don't know.
Right. And I really like that. I always say never judge a book by its cover, because you don't know what those contents may read on the inside. So, James, if you could please tell us a little bit again where they can find and what they could do for the Covenant House and your purpose.
All right. So, yes, information and everything Covenant House Georgia, you can log on to www.covenanthousega.org. Again, that's covenanthousega.org. You'll find out, about our staff and all the different events we have coming on. On March 23rd is one of our signature events. It's the Young People Sleep Out. And basically, we'll be raising awareness and funds for, what we do. I encourage everyone to kind of get involved, if not with Covenant House, with some of the other agencies here in Atlanta. We're the only one that specifically is geared towards our demographic. But let's get out, mentor. Let's get out, start the conversation, and utilize your networking abilities to your best ability to leverage what you can do. All of it is needed, and I'm looking forward to continuing being a champion for these youth. These people are very deserving, and I agree. You can't judge a book by its cover. I was telling them when we were off the air about some of the wonderful youth talents that come through our program. We have pianists, we have singers, we have poets, we have youth that are in college. They are the leaders. They are just experiencing homelessness. So there's a lot that you can do. You can reach out to me, James Thornton _OCR on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, James Thornton. There's many ways to get involved, and we're ready for able-bodied people who are enthused about helping.
So, John, real quick, give the viewers something that you can leave them with.
So youth homelessness is on the rise, unfortunately, in the United States. Those numbers are not pretty. But rather than feel completely hopeless, I encourage anybody to get with organizations such as the Covenant House. Tell people that they can make a difference. Encourage your staff and your Facebook friends to do something. Mentor, donate.
I agree. And so if you guys follow us on Facebook, Destiny Talk Live Facebook page, or on Instagram or Twitter, I've put several challenges out there. I'm challenging people to become part of our growing community service piece. We've got this thing going we're doing with Dresden Elementary, where we're helping those youth and the students out there. And when we get off this air, we're going to sit down and talk and try to see how we can come and be a partner with the Covenant House to do different things. So Destiny Talk Live is challenging you to do something to give back. Instead of talking about it, be about it. So I am putting this challenge out there, and I want to see how many of you guys are going to put your money where your mouth is. Are you going to join Cherry, John, Andre, and everyone else that's associated with the Destiny Talk Live team and on making differences, or are you going to sit back and judge? The ball is in your court. So I am asking you to do something positive, share something good, and put away the negative. Because when we share negative, we keep spreading, bad things, negativities. We need to make sure that we become whole and one, like we say, Wakanda Forever. If y'all have not seen that movie, go see that movie.
Wakanda Forever.
Because I'm telling you, the dedication. We joke about it, but that movie showed a lot of different elements that they did as far as family, as building each other. They showed you how to even look at what the outside enemy trying to do to come in. I know it's a comic book thing, but it was really giving us a message.
Amen.
It was giving us a message of unity. Amen. And power, and just how much power we have within ourselves to make a difference and make things change. So again, guys, we're listening here. You were listening to James today. He was talking a great deal about homelessness and how we can make a change. Andre, I really do appreciate you calling in and tuning in and giving your expertise on what you were doing with your program. And we want to continue to help whatever you're doing to help bring that out and just following your journey. And John, as always, I appreciate you being on the show to help spread the word. Guys, thank you again for tuning in, and you have been listening to Destiny Talk Live.
Have a blessed day.